Hello and welcome. This is a hot seat with me, Wangare Modhoi. Today, we are privileged to be hosting Azimio la Umoja Waithirawa Maruru. However, we had also invited UDA representative Saimo Anyere. I don't know what happened. Maybe he chickened out or I don't know. Waithira, thank you so much for making time for us, Mami.
My pleasure.
So who is Waithira first?
My name is Waithira wa Maruru. I am a leader. What people call a youth leader probably, or a woman leader because I'm a female and I'm below that age of 35. I am from Madeira constituency, a small village called Gaine. Waithira is this person who believes in social democracy. So you'll find me doing stuff. I'm very committed to stuff about education, about social development of the people, about disability and etc. I believe in active leadership and active involvement of people, like the population, in politics, and that's why I'm right now. I'm so involved in Azimio la Umoja.
You're so involved in Azimio la Umoja. Why Azimio la Umoja? Why not UDA? Why not Team Wajigi? Why not Team?
All those teams you have talked about are political teams. The question I ask myself is, what is it not only for me, but Kenya is still in the formative stages. 100 years from today, like every other day. A few weeks ago, we were doing Mandaraka, Mashujaa Day here in Kirinyaga. We had the president take us back to Chief Kivo in the 1880s. 100 years from today, what will the future generations talk or say that Kenya did for them? Like we will be the founding fathers. You see the way you talk about founding fathers. 100 years from today, me and you will be the founding fathers. Those children will be reading about us, you know? So when I look at the politics we're playing today, what kind of foundation are we leaving for this country? And Azimio la Umoja basically means peace. It basically means coming together, having the same agendas for this country, like coming together regardless of tribe, regardless of religion, regardless of gender, and forging a better Kenya ahead. It's like where we say, I love looking at the American Constitution and the history of United States of America. The country is more than 240 years old.
Yes.
And whatever they did between 1880 and 1950 is what holds America together. Is how they can sit and say, yes, our constitution does not allow this and this to happen. You can win, people can vote for you, and you hear they have gone to another place and Trump wins, you know, such things. And that kind of foundation, and that is what Kenya needs, and that's what Azimio la Umoja is proposing, a firm foundation for our country.
Azimio la Umoja, as you said, is you're united despite the tribe.
Yes.
However, some days ago, Junet Mohammed, who is one person very, very at the top of Azimio la Umoja,
Kijana wa baba,
he made a mention in the presence of one of the CSs we have in and Mutahi is one of those CSs who we value so much as the Kikuyu community, as the Mount Kenya community, true? So when he tells him, tukichukua serikali, hata wewe utakuwa unakuja kama mgeni. Does that include the tribes?
You see, Kenya there is this beauty of owning the presidency, tribal owning of the presidency. Before even Junet said that, 40 years ago there were stories, even just before Kibaki took power, there were stories that Odamaki, let's say this in Kikuyu, Odamaki Dokari Gashania. It was in Kikuyu, but it was supposed to stay in Kiambu because it is the beauty of owning presidency. It is one of us, yeah? And that is the psychology of Kenyans today. That is the psyche. And you see, it's not a small feat having all those presidential motorcade ikikuja Nyeri, you know? And I think when Junet said that, it was not in bad faith. It was a joke. But what happened is, we Kenyans, we really love, or the political leaders we have today, love to dwell on small matters. We love to emotionalize everything.
Do you think it's a small matter for you to be told, this will be Kenya, yes?
Nitakuja kama mgeni.
Utakuja kama mgeni. And mind you, Mount Kenya has very high votes.
Yes, yes,
True?
yes.
We are embracing baba na tunamwambia tutakusaidia kupanda mlima. You're even holding him hands to help him. True? Then you tell me ukikuja utakuwa mgeni. So what share do we have as Mount Kenya people in this politics? Well, come 2022, baba is the president. What share will the Mount Kenyans have? Or does it take us back to when there was the code coalition na tukaambiwa mtalala chini kama bahasha?
That was not even called by code. That was said by Ntimama in 1992. Kalonzo just stole the words of Ntimama. But you see what you have just done there. That is what we call emotionalizing politics. And that is the biggest problem we have in Kenya today. Yeah? Because when we look at Baba, when we look at Raila Odinga, actually Raila have mentored more Kikuyus than Kibaki. Raila has mentored more Kikuyu youth than Uhuru Kenyatta and taken them to Bunge. Who took Shebesh to Bunge? It is Raila Odinga. Who nominated Mwatwa to Bunge? Go to his office. We even have a girl from here, Moya, called Jane, who was the advisor in the Prime Minister office at the age of 24. At the age of 24 years, that's when Jane was taken to be advisor for youth affairs. You know, Raila Odinga believes, and that is him, believes in the unity of this country. When Raila looks at you, he does not see you as a Kikuyu. Raila looks at it, what are you offering our nation? If you read his book, The Enigma of Kenyan Politics, it's called The Flame of Freedom. The Flames of Freedom. That book, if you go through it, you'll find what he believes in, what he have done in this country, people he has worked together. And I would also like to pose the question of why is it that Tabitha Karaja, the owner of Keroche Breweries, why is it that SK Macharia, why is it that Maina Wanjege, the father of Jim himself, he's still alive, Maina, why is it that all these billionaires feel more comfortable? Why is it that Munga and Mwagiwa Equity, why is it that Peter Kennedy, why are they feeling comfortable with a Raila presidency? Why are they not talking about those, whatever Jeanette said? And Jeanette will say the thing, by the way. Why are they not talking about that? Why are you as a very, very, me and you are very small Kenyans, why are we trying to get emotional? Why are we being taken from actual, where the actual thing is happening, and brought to this small, tribal, small emotional cocoons, so that we are not discussing what actually matters, so that we're not discussing the healthcare of this country, the education, the food security. Why are we not discussing those issues as Miola Umoja, but we are here discussing we are being taken from actual, people are stealing the show. We are being told, and our mind is, we are being given this mindset of, you people, you can stay here, discuss about this emotion. As there, we are discussing big businesses and that and that and all that and all that. And that is how Kenyans miss it every other moment.
Well, there are those billionaires who are very comfortable around Raila. But what is the percentage of billionaires compared to the common Wanjiku, compared to you and me?
Very small percentage. But, and mark you, the billionaires who are supporting Raila are actually what we call strugglers. People who have struggled, people who have amassed their wealth genuinely. People, they are not scandalous. We know that Tabitha Karanja alianza kutengeneza pombe ndio amekuwa billionaire. We know that SK Mashari alianza hiyo nini printing yake. Saizi amehold one of the biggest media stations in Eastern Central Africa. True. You know, they are real strugglers. They have struggled to be here. They are genuine people, genuine business people. They support Raila. They are a very, very small percentage. But how many Kenyans do they employ? How many people are employees of RMS, Low Media Services? How many people are employees or actually benefit from Equity Group? How many people are employees of Keroche Breweries? How many people actually, how does, you know, it's a cascading effect. You know, tumetoka pale juu kuna mabilionea. But even in my own village, hata kukikuwa na harusi, it is the big person in that village who will give us his prado for us to kubebea bibi harusi. So you cannot say it's a small percentage or exclude them and say let's follow what the masses want, because I love what Uhuru Kenyatta is doing right now, what we call guided democracy, because that's the only way for development. We have to say, because sometimes kuna mtu alisema where you see masses going, it's mostly the wrong place. We have the masses, the crowd thinking has a very negative effect on almost everything, especially politics, because crowd emotions. It's very, very easy to say, wase tuliambiwa tukae chini kama bahasha, and everyone will say hawa mtu tumtaki, but we won't ask ourselves, mwenye hakutuambia what are his policies on education, mwenye hakutuambia what are his policy on corruption, mwenye hakutuambia hivyo what are his policies on food security.
Talking of policies and safety. Raila has been MP Kibra,
yes,
for far too long.
Yeah, you can say that.
True.
4 terms.
That is 20 years. So kuna mtoto alizaliwa akafika mpaka kuchukua ID.
Actually 30 years.
Sindo, with Raila as the MP. What much development has happened in the Kibra slums?
Let me first tell you something about, I don't know if you know Kibra. I don't know if you have ever gone to Kibra or to Madare. Have you been to Madare?
Yes, I have.
And Mukulu Kayafa, Mukulu Kwajega, Kayafa and all that. Do you know, as we speak right now, Madare is bigger than Kibra. As we speak right now, Kayafa, Mukulu all the way from Kwajega all the way to Sinai is twice as bigger as Kibra. But why are we always looking at Kibra?
Because that is where the Raila comes from. You should tell me.
Exactly.
You can't tell me like if I give you things, you will work with it. And that my question was very simple. What has Raila done? He's the head
but
of...
you didn't let me to finish my answering you.
Okay, finish.
You know, what I was saying is there's this thing that of Kenyans looking at only Kibra, not excluding all the other slums in Nairobi. And we never ask ourselves, where do the slum community come from? Why are people living in such, because it's a bad living conditions? We don't ask ourselves. We don't go that far to ask ourselves. We want the same thing, emotions. It's Raila who was here. So what has Raila done? In Kibra, we have a school that I love so much. It's called Olympic Primary School. If you look at the Olympics of those before 1990 and the Olympic of now, you'll see what he has done. In Kibra, all the NGOs, all the foundations, all the funding. Let me tell you something. In your village, Eunice, a child will get 350 marks. Mtafanya harambee at the shule. In Kibra, a child gets 320 marks and you are assured of a scholarship in the school of your choice. You go to Kibra, you find kids in Starehe. And is the networking that Raila did in that place. Number two, you see the child will grow up. When Raila came to parliament in 1992, yeah? And between 92, CDF came in 2004. And you can ask what happened between 2004 and 2012, yeah? And there was something called a slum empowerment program, upgrading program. And there is, there's an estate just next to Kibra called Nyayo High Rise. You know that estate?
Yeah, I do.
High Rise was done in the 90s as a way to do away with the slums. Hizo nyumba zikapatiwa watu wa nini? Wa Kibra, wakakuja High Rise. If you go to High Rise today, you'll find Prados being packed there. Because what happened is, one, people sold the houses, went back to the slums. 2, they live in the slums, they rent out the house. That's how they make their money. So Raila tried to upgrade the slums. He did that. There's even Disney. There's other houses going on right now. It's called in Saba. Some high rises going on there. Okay. But what happens is, once you are used to the life in the slums, let's say you have a salary of 10,000 shillings and you have a wife and 3 children, you live in the slums, you are used to kununua sukari ya kota nini, the kind of lifestyle you are living there, is very hard to have that lifestyle in your high rise, because once you come to these high rise houses, water, kuna mita ya maji, kuna all those things, the cost of living changes. And that is why it was so hard to remove or for Raila to finish up with Kibra. But my question goes back to why we can see in your high rise was there, and there's here line saba huko ndani wamejega high rise there. Why are we not talking about Mathare? Mathare is way bigger than Kibra as we speak. Why are we not talking about Mukuru kwa Jega? Why can Kenyans get to a level, actually we the youth of Kenya, can we come up to a level where now we discuss things from an information, a place you have you understand, from a point of understanding, you know? Because if I was asked, the things that Raila has achieved, not only for Kibra but for Kenya, are immense.
Let me ask, by the time Raila left the MP seat, was there sanitation facilities in Kibra?
Yes, there were.
Really?
Yes, there were.
Well-doing sanitation facilities?
There are different parts of Kibra. There are that part, huko chini kabisa, place kama in Saba, they were there. Wow. But the story, you see, he didn't the emotions, the stories that we the media people, or you the media people, will all say, we call it the flying toilets. That was way back in the 70s. Serikali ya Kibaki na Raila, from 2002, they did it. You go to Mukuru kwa Jega, you go to Mathare, they installed nice washrooms and matagi ya maji in every car. I think it was like 200 household, there was a 10,000 liter tank and such.
Raila is telling us once he gets into government, we'll have 6,000. Na keti tu kwa nyumba, napata ngiri sita. That is a question Waithera is going to answer us right after this break. Tunaketi tu, taking a cup of tea, and we get 6,000 in Baba's presidency. Tell us more.
You see, there's a saying in this country, inasemanga hii. If Baba tells that your wife is pregnant, usibishane, anza kubai diapers. Because what it happens. Raila, the ODM manifesto in 2007 promised Kenyans hii pesa ya wazee. Sasa tukasema haiwezekani KKK or not, wazee is getting money or not.
Not all of them, actually.
Yes, not all of them. The same way, not all you will get the money. Because the devil is in the details. Because this money is supposed to be, and it happens in all countries, you know, the developed world, and we are developing. Actually, Kenya right now is ranked as a developing country.
So what is the criteria? What is the criteria of getting 6,000?
Let me first finish. In 2002, the NAC government, Baba Kibaki akina Ngili, when they promised about free primary education, me in my class 8, my parents didn't even buy me a pencil. They were all provided in school in the year 2003. Yeah? When the NAC team said that tutakuwa na masomo ya bure, I remember then how watu wengine, that was our president then and the deputy president wakisema, and now the Kanu brigade wakisema, here is in Kenya, but we are still having free primary, at least subsidized.
Yeah, subsidized. Use that word.
Because when you take your kids to private school, kwenye shauri yako, public wetu gaini wanakuwa na masomo subsidized. You know, anyway.
But not completely free. Let us be real.
It should be. It actually should be completely free. And I will tell you why it is not. Because that's about TSC. You have a few teachers in schools and all that. Yeah, those are things that need to be worked on. Free primary education is supposed to be completely free. But the reason we don't have that right now is, one, our public experience schools. If you go to your village, Modoni Primary School, how many kids are there compared to the next private school next door? So the capitation, every child gets 1350 per year. If a school have 1,000 children, that is like 13 million. If a school have 100 children, that is 130,000. That cannot sustain. So that at the school with 1,000 kids, we need to do free, completely free, like what happens in Muhako Primary School in Gidolai. But the school in Gaine was lazima watop up. So 6,000 ya vijana, sio vijana wote. Ni vijana, you see, the chiefs know. We know umetoka campus. Haujaingia kazi. That's where the huduma number comes in. Because we are...
But huduma number was...
yeah, those are the codes and kisha tutaangalia.
Uh-huh.
Baba kichukua usukani kwa mabaya tutaangalia.
So meaning at some point nisitupe huduma namba yangu itarudi.
Please don't.
Yeah, okay.
Please don't.
After explaining the 6,000, you're explaining how huduma number will come back.
Hiyo tutaangalia hiyo maneno because there's no way a country can just lose all those bills just like that. It's because the code says so. I mean, how much money are we going to waste? Anyway, what I'm saying is your huduma number has all your details, right? Umaliza campus, unaona help zako, unamaliza kulipa, umeandikwa kazi, they can track you. And they also know, the government should also be aware of the number of the youth who are jobless. Si eti wewe Eunice unamkaga ama Samuel hapa kwa wimbo yake, anakuja gig tunamlipa, afa anakuja kugojea 6,000.
Don't you think it will also raise the laziness in our youths? Because I'm like, right now I have to go out there, I have to hustle.
Are your bills totaling up to 6,000 only?
Not really, but I really have to hustle for me to be able to earn that one bob. Because I know, despite anything, I won't get that money from anybody else. I know I have a daughter in school, I know I have my life to maintain, but won't it bring like, nitapata 6,000, end of them, man.
That's a very shallow way of looking at it. But we have seen this happen in the United States. It's basically to caution people from extreme poverty, from the dehumanization of poverty. It means that you'll have food to eat.
Immediately after the introduction of free education system, kulikuwa na hii msemo, and I'm going to say it in Kikuyu. Githomone giafure. Nego. So literally, every parent would be like, even if you were told go get something from your home, you'd be told wagera neke idhomone giafure shoka shukuru. True? That is the same thing that will happen.
But now the question, it will happen because, and the government should not always be to blame, because there's something called being responsible citizenship or a responsible citizenry. When you are saying that, every person have a part to take, even with the youth, it's not just a matter of waiting for that 6,000 bob. 6,000 bob won't take me to where I want. I have a vision for my life. 6,000 bob might help me eat and drink today, or 2 weeks of my life, or even pay my rent, or pay my schools, my child's daycare for this month, But the question is that what I want from my life? Are you responsible enough? This is not the question of the government. The government is trying to help you as a young person. But the question is, are you responsible enough to say that yes, nachukua hii pesa leo, but I'm using it to make sure that next year sitakuwa nikichukua because I want a better life.
Right now,
are we responsible enough to get to that level?
No, that is up to the viewers. Are you responsible enough to get to that level? From that point, right now, it's some of our wazes. Kuna pesa za wazee already. It's getting delayed. Some are missing out for 2-3 months. If hiyo pesa na ngiri mbili inakosa, ngiri sita itatoka wapi?
Ngiri sita itatoka ile mahali nisikia president akisema Kenya is losing, let's say this, Kenya is losing 30% of the budget. That is like 600 billion every year to corruption. Kwa serikali ya baba, kwa serikali ya Azimio la Umoja.
Isn't baba in serikali right now already?
Did you vote for baba to be in serikali?
Didn't they have a handshake with?
Having a handshake was to maintain peace, not to run the government.
To maintain peace.
That means running the government and maintaining peace are two different things. The government is being run by Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto. The people who are running the government today. It's the government. We are having the Jubilee government.
So the leader of opposition still stands to be Raila.
Yes.
Then
ODM is still the opposition party.
What is the role of the opposition leader in Kenya?
Did you? Okay, this is a question that you keep on asking people, and I love the question that was asked here on air. Because Kenyans need to stop. No one voted for Baba, and no one ever told Baba that wewe Baba kazi yako tumekosa kupatia kura ili kutoka hapa everything that happens bad in this country you go fight for us.
So you've not answered my question. What is the role of an opposition leader?
To be a watchdog.
To be a watchdog.
What is the role of the media? What's the role of
to be the watchdog?
Is the media doing the work?
Yes. Partly it is.
How?
It's it's telling this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. We've also found Mike Sonko doing
Mike Sonko is doing a better job than the media.
he's also literally doing a better job than Raila, because at some point Raila got to be that. Let's be
what Raila did. What Raila did is he moved from the streets or from what we call the media, what they like to. Hatafanya maandamano tena eti pesa imeibiwa. Yeah? Because I think Baba have gotten to that point where he realized that it is easier to fight things systematically. Yeah? It is easier than just every other day, because leo mimi nitaiba, nitasema wawili ashike job. Wawili anatolewa kazi. Kesho yeye atachukua na skado, yeye atatolewa job. Kesho kutwa Samolin. You know? Hivyo. So what Baba is doing, what Baba is doing now, where Baba came in, when the handshake came, we started fighting corruption systematically. Yeah? And that's why we are saying in the Serikali as well as Umoja, it will be zero tolerance to corruption. It will be a government policy. But right now, what is happening is, in the point of Uhuru Kenyatta, which was 50-50, one side is fighting corruption, the other one is praising corruption. So it's very hard to fight that in that house.
One side is fighting corruption, one side is praising corruption. How? Who is fighting corruption and who is praising corruption?
Uhuru is fighting corruption, the deputy is praising corruption.
Uhuru has every single power in this country. True? He's the most powerful person.
No, actually he's not.
Who is?
We have seen the courts, even if I Kuduma cards. No, So Uhuru has, the constitution that you're having today, the constitution that you have, the new constitution, 2010, does not actually give the president the power to even, let's say, sack some people. The president does not have the power to say, my deputy is stealing 1, 2, 3, 4. To be moving to that party from that seat, you have to go to the courts. Even it's hard at some point. If a CS is sacked and goes to the court can reinstate him. Yeah? So in the constitution, you're having.
But isn't that democracy?
Exactly. So when you say that Uhuru has all the powers, no, we live in a democratic country.
But him being a president,
no, we live in a democracy. He's just he's just a leader of this team. So it's what the team wants. It's democracy.
Now, let me ask. As you have a dad, or you're married, maybe you have a husband. For this husband, you have to negotiate and talk. So at some point, Raila was Modomogoroki. Kemodokegoroki. Actually, that is in quotes Uhuru's words.
Not in quotes, actually he said that.
At some point, Ruto was, oh brother yako, ni yako ikumi, yake ikumi. Where did all that change?
Why katiwa?
I'm single. I am literally single.
You know, when these guys are katianing us, they tell us about things. They will tell you, these guys will tell you. Mimi ata niko na nyumba, ring road. Nini, niko na gari. Unapata hata baiskeli hana. You know? And that when you are saying Kibudu Moworoki, when you are saying Mvuta Pombe na Bangi, all those things. And it's getting Kenyans to vote. It's getting Kenyans out. And that is where, let me tell you something. That is where as Kenyans, we go wrong. What does Uhuru Kenyatta as a person, as a leader, stand for? Do we believe that Uhuru can take us from where we are today as Kenyans? As a dairy farmer, am I sure that Uhuru can take me from selling my milk from 30 bob to 40 shillings? I'm a coffee farmer. What does Uhuru stand for? What is his agricultural policy? As a parent who have kids who kids get sick now and then. What does Uhuru stand for? What is his health care policy? Let's look at Raila Odinga. Let's move from Kibodo Mogoloki to the level of guys went to school for a reason. We spent years in schools for a reason. We woke up early, went to bed late, in school for a reason. Let's stop looking at Kibodo and all that. Let's look at what does he promise Kenya? What has he stood for? This is a guy who have more than 50 years, 40 years of active political career. What has he always stood for?
Let me ask, you've given us a very nice analogy of when men are enticing a woman, they'll tell you, I'll give you heaven on earth. True?
Maybe nitafute kiti ya gavana nieli tabu napatia kila mtu mtoa maziwa kila asubuhi akila kunywa maziwa na mtanichagua tu.
So, that is exactly the point. And politics, as you said, is ulimi, ndio inakuuza. Uhuru and Ruto told us watatupea laptop, watoto wetu watakuwa nasoma, True? Don't you think that is exactly what is happening right now? Raila will tell us, "Gamohega girida that to inyode."
I wouldn't trust anything Ruto has ever promised, and partly what was ever promised, because he didn't promises. He promised us when he was the Minister of Finance, he brought, what do you call this? Volkswagen Passat to be used by all government officials. So what want to be that was when he was the Minister of Finance. In his own presidency, what wanted to be a V8 Prados, kama sita kila minister.
Yeah,
so he starts so well. He's our president, a man I respect so much. He starts too well. He has good agendas, but he lacks the people to reinforce that, or hakuna guy finishing power or keeping it moving. Yeah. If Ruto promises you a pencil, atashapele utapata kesho. Everything will go. He'll steal everything. But if Baba promises, Baba will deliver. He has always, Raila Odinga has always delivered on his promises. As a person, as a politician, e.g. the new constitution, he fought for it and it came to be. E.g. pesa za wazee, e.g. devolution. Yes. And if you know, they have fought for devolution since 1977. It was not ugatuzi, it was another word they were using. Majibo. And the Balkan region said Majibo Gake. It was actually, that's why you don't call devolution Majibo, which is actually Majibo, you call it ugatuzi. But it was supposed to be Majibo,
Higher.
Let us always
promised and delivered. That is for Kenyans to decide. Let us keep all that. There have been a series of conferences that have happened through the Azimio, but we find the same faces, same, like Warogoro, no, not Warogoro, sorry, like Waithera, like Eunice Mwadhi, like we find those people. Niko sure kukikuwa na anything to do with Azimio right now, Waithera hautakosa. Don't you think there might be some other youths who want to have the same opportunity but lack because maybe they don't know who is who?
Asiyekuwepo hamkui na mti. And this is politics. It's about networking. It's about you. There is nobody. This weekend we are holding Azimio la Umoja will be in Nyeri. Hapa tu kwetu. That will the old central Kenya. The 5 counties will be held here in Nyeri. The Azimio la Umoja Central Kenya chapter. This is 26 and 27 of this month. Hiyo siku na kuna inaisha kupangwa, but there are people who have called me. Waithera tunataka kuja. It's not for me, or it's not for Raila Odinga. It is not for Uhuru Kenyatta to come and say, Eunice, utakuja mkutano. But for young people out there, you have to get out of your houses. You have to look for these opportunities. And you see, opportunity and preparedness go hand in hand. So utaona Eunice kila mahali, utaona Waithera kila mahali, lakini si eti tunaitangwa, tunajipeleka. Na hii ni siasa. Siasa ni kujipeleka. No one will ever take you. I'm telling the viewers, the young people who are viewing us. Yeah? I would love to see so many of us from Nyeri. Right now, I know you do not know, maybe you don't know this, but a person like Mother Cheyenne.
Yeah.
Right now, Mother is in Kisumu. There is a Azimio la Umoja youth caravan going around. Mother is in Kisumu. Yeah? But you hear young people saying, eti kwani kila siku ni Mother. But Mother aliamka jana asubuhi mapema sana, akakaa kwa nyumba yake, akaingia ile kada wapi? When so many of us were just here stardust, tulikunywa nini? Chai tuendelea na safari yetu.
You had to use stardust.
Alafu tuanza kusema ati againa koga gani? kila siku. Kesho utaona ikiwa Kakamega una Waithira hapo. But I had to wake up, I had to ask guys tunaenda wapi. We have ni kujipanga simply. Maisha ni kujipanga. Na kila kitu kwa hii. It's politics in life, in everything. Young people, you have to wake up, you have to panga yourself, and you have to ensure that you are doing this. Go for it. Go for it. And I also believe that the universe, or God, always, if you say that you want something, it will happen if you go for it.
As we wind up, Baba will be here. First, before I ask you that, some days ago, Team UDA was in Nyeri. That is Murkomen. They were hosted by our area women rep, Honorable Mukami, and on Murkomen, on Didmas Baraza, Oro, they were all here. True. And there was chaos with people chanting Baba, Baba, Baba. Kulikuwa mpaka na mawe inarushwa.
I love that.
Oh, you love stones being thrown in?
I don't love stones being thrown, but stones being, it has always. Actually, they didn't show us the stones, and when they went to Kisumu wakatupua mawe walisema Luos are violent. Why didn't they say Kikuyus? Nyeri people are violent. In politics, it's about power. And since the start of time, power have always been sought through wars, kutupua mawe, that is the first one, through consensus, what we call democracy, that is voting, and all this. Yeah? And maybe some people still believe, kupata hii power, lazima tutupe mawe, lazima tuwete vurugu. I do not support that. And I hope, how I wish that, you see, there's one thing that I love about President Kenyatta. Yeah? When he says, ukenda kwa Watundu, as long as ukosei mtu, let him come there. Whoever is coming, akuje awabie venye anataka. You don't have to come send to Waithira. If you don't want to Waithira in Nyeri, don't come. Don't come haribu mkutano yangu. If you don't want Raila in Nyeri, if you don't want Ruto in Nyeri, wewe kaa kwa nyumba yako, akitoka, akienda, and we say, Mugani Nerowe. Atakuja nae, Baba atakuja hapa Friday, Monday atakuwa amerudi kwao. Sio? Na pengine atarudi Nyeri for the campaign time. It's only 2 days. Ruto will come here on 4th and 5th, one weekend, arudi kwao. Why would I, as a leader one, pay people to come to the stones? 2, as a person, why would I come and do a person? Does it even make sense?
So as we wind up, with the Azimio coming in, will there be some stopovers in town, or are they just those conferences?
Meetings. Going by what have been happening in other places, there will be town hall meetings, and also there will be roadshows. It is hard. But before we wind up, there's something I would love to clarify, mostly for my generation and people younger than me. Someone just said a few minutes ago,
Raila was arrested for treason.
Exactly. I need to clarify this.
I wanted that to be the closing remark.
We have a lot of we cannot talk about Raila for just one day. That guy is an institution. He's a whole. It's not for just one show. But there's some things I want to say here. That Raila was never taken to court. He was detained without trial. Actually, the state. How do you say this? If you are to take people to court, we should take the state to court.
That was during Moi's era?
Yes. Hezekiah Labala Ochuka was hanged with 2 other army guys who staged the coup. But Raila, Akina Gogo Adiono, Akina, all those guys, Akina Minawa Kenyati, Akina Muga Korlali, Akina, all the other guys who are there, Akina Muite. No one. It was between 1980, those guys were in 1991. From 80 to 90, people like Raila stayed in jail for 9 years. 9 years, waterlogged cells, without ever having a day in court. So Raila was never taken to court for treason. So mwisho kutuambia ati Raila alikuwa treason, he was never taken to court for that. And history. When Kenya finally reached the right history, we'll tell the story of 1982. Number 2, let me say why I support and why I believe in Raila Odinga.
Before you support Raila, alijiapisha kuwa president. Okay, hakujiapisha.
Aliapishwa kukuwa president.
Na mkatuodolea our
nani aliondoa? Who escorted Miguna from Kenya to Dubai and ensure that amejia hiyo ndege ya Canada? Nani?
Kenyan government.
Who was there? Who was in person? We saw the picture. Actually, it is Moses Kuria who did the picture and akatuma online, right? Hiyo Kuria saizi anasema je saizi kusoma. The people who clapped at that point, people like Rigathi Gachagua, people like Dennis Itumbi, people like the deputy president William Ruto, and people in that camp, akina Mulcom. Because the people, if you go to the you know the best part about social media is never forgets. If you go down to their timelines, check in that time in 2018 what they said about that deportation, which was illegal. It was, you know, Miguna was born in Kenya. Yes, he renounced his citizenship.
For you to have dual citizenship.
At that point, but the new constitution allows it. I don't know if Miguna has now the dual citizenship, because once you renounce your citizenship, you have to take it up again. I don't know if he did that. But still, it would have gone a better way. But the people, the question I'm asking is, who is the people who clapped? The people who celebrated the deportation of Miguna? Why are they now the people who are saying that Miguna should come back? Why? This guy for Ruaraka, the Ruaraka MP Kajua, he was the Attorney General akisharing Baba anyway. Bana huku area tu anatembea. Anyway, Baba hakuapishwa kuwa president. Baba aliapishwa kuwa people's president na tunamwitaga rais. Yeah. And he was apishwa to be the people's president of Kenya, not the president of the Republic of Kenya. Two legally different things. But all in all, you know, the other day we were there at Azimio la wakina mama, and I was listening to Sabina Chege, the women left for Muranga speak. And I'll repeat the word of Sabina, the words of Sabina as I wind up. Baba has won the presidency of this country 3 good times. It has been stolen from him. In 2008, it took Ida Odinga to bring peace in this country, things that no one knows about. People like Mother Karua, I don't know, I say so much. People like Ruto have said, Apana. Kalua was so strict, President Nakibaki. Ruto was Baba Lazima. But Mama Aida forced Raila to Sagana, na tukapata the handshake at hiyo time. In 2018 March 9, no one knew what was happening, but we saw Baba move beyond himself to what the nation wants, to peace. If you're in Nairobi, the weeks before that, prior to that, unakumbuka machozi made, hapo kuna kalika. Yeah? Raila has not once, not twice, moved beyond his own self-interests and put the interests of Kenya ahead of him. Yeah? And that is what we need as a president of this country. That is what we need in the leadership of this country. As I said when we are starting, we are still forming the foundation of this country. And we need someone we can trust about that. Ikiwa hapo, wewe utakuwa si wewe peke yako. Si kujitafutia. You are thinking about me, you are thinking about Eunice, you are thinking about all of us and our children and our children's children. Number, na nikimalizia kabisa, Raila Odinga is the only known politician who himself and his family do not trade in public tenders. Umeisikia mtu wa familia Raila ameshikwa na skandal tena? It's because as a family they have a duty to this country. We do not trade government, we serve Kenyans, we don't steal from Kenyans. And I think as a person, as a leader, I'm a very young Kenyan, that's the kind of person I need as a president of this country. Nikimalizia mwisho, vijana wote wa Nyeri na watu wote wa Kenya, karibuni Nyeri, Azimio la Umoja, na tusikilize na tuendelee pamoja. It's about unity. Azimio la Umoja is basically a resolution of togetherness as Kenyans from all corners of the country. Let's move together.
Thank you so much. On the sideline, are you vying for the women rep seat?
Saizi tunasema Azimio la Umoja. Tukimaliza Azimio, tutaleta Kenya pamoja. Tutajua. Tuta-announce.
So
kujua tuta announce
before the 9 months. That is. Hopefully you will make the announcement here.
Tutajua, tuta-announce.
It was a pleasure having you, and I think you are a true definition of beauty with brains. Thank you so much. So, that was Waithira representing Azimio la Umoja, and well, you've heard her. The decision is yours. Hopefully, Team UDA will give us a chance to have a seat with them and also hear them out. I hope we'll also have time with Team Wajige and also any other presidential candidate, be it Mwangi wa Iria, be it Moturi. We are really looking forward to have you on the hot seat. This is the hot seat with me, Wangari Maathai.